Welcome to Worldwide House Hunters. And it looks like our journey has stopped in Fayetteville, North Carolina. This house caught my eye because it has a little bit of the design style that of a house that I drafted when I was in high school for our drafting class. Just the angled roof and the windows just reminded me of that, so it caught my eye. And then I saw the price, and I was like, it's only listed $199,900, and that really struck me because I'm like, oh wow, that's pretty affordable compared to a lot of the homes that I see in Florida and in other places. You're talking about $300,000 and up. You used to be able to get a house for, if your house was $199,000, $225,000, $240,000, you're talking about a really nice brand new built home. And now everything is well over $300,000. So when I saw $199,000, I was like, oh, okay, this is something that is quite affordable. Now, I'm not really sure where Fayetteville actually sits, how close it is to, a really metropolitan area, or if it's really a more rural area. I had a friend and his mom that stayed with us when we were kids, when we were teenagers, and I believe they were from Fayetteville, North Carolina. So that kind of struck me too. So I don't really know where it's at. I think it's a rural type area, but we're going to take a look at what this house has to offer. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, 1,683 square feet. So not too shabby at that price point. Looks like it's definitely off in the woods here. So it looks like there's definitely some privacy, lots of wooded areas around here. I would imagine there's maybe some nice wildlife, maybe deer or something in that area. It just looks like it's very natural and very nature oriented. Looks like it's got a nice chimney here, so there must be a fireplace there, a working fireplace, which is nice. You notice the deck, which kind of looks like it kind of wraps around the house here. I like wraparound decks. I was a carpenter when I got out of school. I took carpentry in school, in high school, and then I did build some houses for a company. And yeah, I like decks. I kind of wanted to go into the deck building business when I was a kid, but it just didn't kind of happen for me. But wow, this is quite nice. I like the angles of the roof here, the angle of the windows that actually kind of complements that, the angle at the top here. I just like this style of window, and like I said, I put those windows in the house that I drafted in high school. So there's another picture, maybe a little bit sunnier picture. Looks like it probably catches the sun here on this side of the roof here. I don't know what time of day this is, but it doesn't look like the sun is beaming into the windows, which is kind of cool too. Wow, really, really nice. Here's more of a ground level picture here. I see they've got a nice grill outside or whatever, so this is an area that they use to kind of hang out and grill and enjoy the nature along with the amenities of the home. It's kind of cool. This wood, I know this is something that you got to think about. I'm sure it's probably pressure treated wood, but I can just kind of tell by looking at it that it's probably been there a while. And with time, that needs to be replaced. You got to kind of maintain that, and you may need to replace that when things start to warp. Like you can see here, there's maybe one missing here. There's maybe another one missing here. So that deck probably is going to need some repairs. That's something that you definitely have to think about, but at $199,000 might be a little bit affordable to do. Maybe the deck is something that you can squeeze into your budget because the cost of the home is not so great. But overall, I like the way it looks outside. We get inside here. This looks like the living room area. Looks like there's definitely some kids. I don't think I've ever seen like kind of a playpen that big, but I think that's kind of cool because the kids have room to move around, got a bunch of stuffed animals and stuff in there, and looks like a dump truck or something in there too. So definitely kid stuff around or whatever, but it gives them a lot of space, so that's interesting. Probably not a feature of the house that's going to stay, but yeah. So this is a nice L-shaped couch. Got the end where you can lay out on. So this is a pretty good sized couch. So that gives you an idea of how big the living room actually is. I don't know. It may back right up to this wall here. And it looks like there's a door back here, so you probably can walk around this other side here. There's a big window here. It looks like, so it's, I don't see any like skylights or anything here. I don't know if they have any skylights, maybe back here or so. But I think some skylights here would have been cool. It would have just definitely turned out the aesthetic of the living room a little bit. But this is a nice large living room. I don't know what this is. Maybe this is some type of this is the front of the fireplace, I would imagine. So yeah, as far as the flooring goes or whatever, this is nice flooring. I think it really fits the area because you're in a wooded and a naturally kind of wooded place. Having the wood floors or whatever, I think that fits really well. I like the black with that as well. So I think it makes a lot of sense here so far from what we see. Here's a look from the other side. So I didn't see maybe that wasn't the, maybe it just was distorted a little bit in the picture or whatever. But I don't see the fireplace here. But here's another look for it. I guess maybe there may be a little bit of space here, back here behind the couch. There's probably something you could put there. But remember, there was a door there, so maybe that's a space where people can kind of just walk in, kick their shoes off, and that type of thing. But yeah, nice shelving and stuff here. Lots of space. That ceiling, with the way the ceilings are, it's definitely a very high ceiling. So this room feels very open. That's kind of the benefit of having the sloped roof like that, going up so high. Very cool. Okay, yeah, so we were right. So there was, okay, I see what we're looking at now. Okay, so there was the fireplace there. That was there. And so I don't know if I like the black here. I think I probably would have contrasted the fireplace to make it stand out just a little bit, maybe a little bit different paint to contrast it, but it's cool. I see that we got pretty much the black aesthetic going up here, and then the door. There's some room to like do some paint. That's really just paint. You can figure out what actually works to kind of make it pop just a little bit. But yeah, overall, it's really nice. I like the feel of this. It's a little bit smaller because, people are coming right in the door and they're going right into the living room, right? So it's not like a real foyer type situation or whatever, but at $199,000, you're probably not going to get that anyway. Here is a dining room area for table and chairs. I don't know what the design here. It looks like they kind of just threw some things together here. But I think if you have an eye for design, you can really make this a really nice area. I like the lamp, the shade, the chandelier that's hanging down or whatever. I do like that. Think there could be some better furniture choices there. Now we have the kitchen. The kitchen is nice and open. Our dishwasher here off to the side. A nice size sink here. See, a 3D would be very helpful here to kind of get there and just see everything up close a little bit, a 3D video. But you've got your windows, kind of your corner windows here, which is cool. That brings in a lot of natural light to the kitchen. You're sitting at standing at the sink or whatever. You can see outside. That's kind of cool. I like the black. I like the black at the bottom and then the white at the top. We've seen that in a couple of different properties that we've looked at, where you see the cabinets darker on the bottom, lighter on the top. We've seen that. I kind of like that. And I think it all kind of goes together. I got a nice amount of counter space here if you're cooking and all that stuff, and your dishes and all that stuff can be washed on one side and your cooking stuff can be on the other side. Stove, microwave, everything right there. A decent amount of counter space. Cabinet space. I don't know if you want to utilize the space up above. You know, could be utilized a little bit more, but if you don't have a lot of stuff, it doesn't really matter, right? So, stove. The refrigerator looks quite large. I don't know what's going on with it. Why it's scratched this way? Or is that just the picture? Or what are we looking at here? It looks a little weathered, right? Even the cabinets and everything look a little weathered too. So there's definitely a little bit of love and care that you're going to have to put into the property. But that looks really, really large. Like, wow. Maybe this is the freezer side and this is the refrigerator side. I don't know. There's no handle here. There's no handle on this side or whatever. So. Maybe it opens once you open this door. I don't know. I've never seen that before. That's kind of interesting. But not bad. But you can see there's definitely some need for some paint here. And that's one thing with the darker paint. Once you chip it, you're definitely going to have to repaint, right? So you're going to have to keep paint around to keep that up for sure. But, you know, not a lot of cabinet space, but there's some. This is cool for a couple of people. I think it's good for a first home, for a small family. You got young kids or whatever. I think this would definitely work space-wise. You know, a family of 3, a family of 4, you're going to be all right. I like the step down here into the dining area from the living room. It just gives that separation. Even though it's kind of open here, it gives that separation, and I think that's pretty cool. Here's one of the bedrooms here. I think this is a pretty good sized bedroom. This bed looks like it's a pretty decent size. That's a king or queen, at least a queen size bed. So yeah, that's a decent sized room because you've got a lot of area to walk here. You could probably put even a chair here and still be able to get by. There's a desk here with a chair here. So lots and lots of space here. Yeah, you could really take that space and make it your own. For a house at $199,000, that's a really decent size bedroom for today's prices. I mean, you're probably not going to find that in a lot of places. We've got the bathroom here. Same thing with the cabinets, nicked up a bunch. You're going to have to repaint those and all that, but that's just a little bit of elbow grease to put into the property. You're going to have that anyway. You can have someone come and do that probably in a day or so. But very good, right? Very cool. This is interesting. Here, I thought this is a mirror. So what is this? It's like you can kind of see outside. I don't know. Do we have anything that... My eyes are bad, so I can't really tell what that is or whatever, how this works, unless this is another mirror or something too. I don't know. But it seems like you can see some shades and all that kind of stuff going on here. Just seems like it would be weird that the bathroom would have like an opening like that. So I don't know. Closet space. This is a nice amount of closet space because it kind of goes right around the room or whatever. So you're going to be able to hang a bunch of clothes there. A lot of storage. Looks like you can store a lot of things down below. I don't see a lot of shoes here, so I don't know where the shoes are going. It looks like up top, maybe up top. So there's even this space up top here. So it's a good use of the closet space, I think. Here's maybe another bathroom for us too. Cabinets, once again, the black, this paint is definitely not staying on. There's going to be a lot of work done with that. But overall, this is nice. It's a nice small area. Lots of counter space for you to put things as you're getting ready. And, women have a lot of hair products and face products and makeup and stuff like that. There's a lot of space here to be able to put that, to be able to use it. For a house in this price range, I don't think you're going to find that a lot. Now, this bathroom is a little different sink, a little bit wider, so kind of cool. I think I would have rather have a little more counter space than the width here in a bathroom this size, but cool. I won't be unhappy there. Here's another bedroom, probably a kid's bedroom here. Looks like there's a couple bedrooms here. There's one back there, and this is a nice size. Looks like you've got at least like maybe a a double or a twin type bed here or something going on. It looks pretty good, right? It has its own closet space there. Not bad, not bad. I like how they've kept the black as a theme throughout the house. It kind of was on the outside, and then they kept it for a theme on the living room, and then throughout the house. Not bad at all. Nice spacing in the room. Even if you had kids come over, if you had a sleepover for kids or something, they could all come in and hang out, and they're gonna be comfortable here and playing and all that stuff. They're gonna have a lot of fun there, right? They'll be able to have fun. Here's the other bedroom that we saw from the other side, and this looks nice too. Doesn't look quite as big as the other bedroom. Maybe we get another view of it. Yeah, here we go. But this is cool. So you can kind of go out the door, see the front of the house. This is cool. Nice desk there, and so it's enough space for a kid to hang out. Nice closet space there. It's a nice space to store things. I don't know if you get ambitious, you could put a little office in there or something like that. I don't see a lot of electrical plugs in here. So if there's no electrical plugs, then it's going to be more difficult. But, to do that, you probably have to have that run. But it's a space where you can store things. You can see the roof line here. So, it's definitely, maybe like an attic space or something to store things. So beautiful. Look at the amount of property. Wow. Look at the amount of property here. Especially if you have kids, they can go out and play, and they've got ample room to kind of get away from the house and have fun. Look at the amount of property. $199,000. Beautiful, beautiful. It doesn't look like you have a lot of neighbors like right on top of you. You got some space between you and the neighbors. Like I said, the deck is definitely going to need some work. You can see a little bit of warping. It's a little bit off here. Missing some pieces here and there. That's something that's probably going to be an expense because this is a pretty big deck. Then you can see on the outside, there's definitely some work with the wood here that would eventually need to be fixed. But all in all, for $199,000, this is a great property. I can almost see, I know Airbnb is not all the rage as much anymore. People are still doing it, but I could see something like this being like an Airbnb property. You fix it up, make it nice or whatever like that. See all these things hanging on the roof and all that stuff. You got to clean all that stuff off. But as an Airbnb property, if this is close to some type of metropolitan area or whatever, or somewhere people would go and you advertise that, I think this would be a great property for that. Wow. I just think it would work. Or to live in. Look at the amount of space there. Wow. It seems like another bigger house over here. That's a pretty big house compared to this one. If you're looking at it, it's pretty big. But it's just the way the wooded, it's wooded and all that type of stuff and lots of shade and all of that. That might be a deal. Okay, so what do you guys think of this house in Fayetteville, North Carolina? Do you live in Fayetteville? Have you lived in Fayetteville before? What do you think of the area? What do you think of the potential of the house? Let me know in the comments. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Bye.